Hello, welcome to Evangelical Focus and Protestante Digital. I'm Daniel Ofcam, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Josh Whitehouse from Go Chatter Studios, a creative team that brings Bible stories to life through Lego stop-motion animation. Their engaging videos have captured the attention of audience around the world, making biblical narratives more accessible and visually compelling. In this interview, we'll dive into the story behind the project, how it all started, and the impact that these animations have had. We'll also explore the creative process, the team's decision to produce content in Spanish, and how people can get involved. So, Josh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel. It is great to be here.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell us, how did this project start, and where does your love for Lego come from?
Yeah, of course, of course. So I've been a Lego nerd my entire life at this point. Like ever since I was 5 and got my first Lego set, I've been building Lego models. I've been building the sets, but then very quickly taking them apart and building my own creations, generally based around castles and nature and all that sort of thing. So my love for Lego started at a very, very young age and has just kept on growing as I've gotten older. It was particularly growing in my teenage years, and particularly during lockdown, when I had a lot of extra time to be building and a lot of extra time to be entering all sorts of Lego online competitions and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But another thing that I started doing in lockdown was making some very basic animations for my church at the time, because my mum was involved in the Sunday school for my church, and she asked me, "Hey, can you make a Bible story for me out of Lego for Sunday school?" And so I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool idea. Why didn't I try that?" And I made a very basic Lego stop motion of a Bible story. And over the course of that lockdown, I made about 4 or 5 more of those. But once lockdown ended, I very quickly went back to the competitions and so on that I'd been entering, because it was more fun for me. The stop motions had been a huge amount of work and only been shown to about 8 or 12 people in my church. Which was not very many people for the amount of work that had gone into them. So I went back to the competitions until a year or so later, when a Christian ministry in the UK, I was in South Africa at the time, a Christian ministry in the UK reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, they'd come across some of the Lego content I'd made, and they said we'd love to collaborate with you and make a Lego Easter story together with you, and we'll work with you and then distribute it all around the UK." And this got me really excited, because this time there was actually going to be a means of getting it out to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people around the UK. So I put a huge amount of effort into the animation this time round, because I could see the value that it could have in the wider Christian community.
Mhm.
And that animation was really the start of this project, because after that animation really did well. It was used in over 1,200 churches that first Easter that it was released. And that was just around the UK. And since then we've made more and more, and the project has kept on growing. I started working for this ministry full time back in 2023. And then in 2024, we realized that the Lego project that had started under this ministry, but was one small part of the ministry, the Lego project had a lot of potential for growth. And so we decided to split it off into this separate charity that is just for the Lego project. And that is where we are today. We're an independent charity called Go Chatter Studios that is making the Bible in Lego stop motion. And our goal is to make the whole Bible in Lego stop motion. So if you picture a children's storybook Bible, picture book Bible, that is our goal, but in Lego stop motion. So we're looking at 70 to 80 animations that we'll be creating over the course of the next however many years it takes us. And so far we've worked through 10 animations. We have another one created and set to release in a couple months or so. And now one of the things that we're doing is that now that the project has started and we're off our feet, we've got 10 animations, we're now wanting to reach as wide an audience as possible. And that involves translating it into languages like Spanish.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing and very interesting to know how this works, and how do you work in this time. And I'm interested in the people's reaction when they first saw the videos. How was that?
Mm-mm. One of the great things about Lego is that it engages such a wide range of audience. And that's one of the real values in using Lego as a medium to retell Bible stories, is that people, because Lego is such a widely known toy and so many people have engaged with it at some point in their life, whether it was back when they were a kid or maybe their kids are now playing with it and so they have that connection through their own kids. There's such a wide range of people that love Lego. And so when they see one of our animations, they're immediately engaged and excited about it just because of the Lego, just because of the Lego. And so the Lego draws them in, and then we're telling them the Bible story and the gospel through the medium of Lego when they're already engaged. So it's such a great way to engage Christians with biblical content, and we've had people say that it's like perfect content for family service, for example, where our videos are the one time in a family service where everyone from 9 months to 90 years old is completely silent and completely dead focused on the video. But then the other thing that it's great for is evangelism, because Lego is a neutral content, a neutral medium, and so Lego is drawing in people from outside the faith and exciting them about the Bible stories that we're creating as well.
Mm-hmm. How do you develop the stories? Do you handle the script, concept, and production yourself, or do you work with the team?
Mm.
Explain us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our animations always start with the Bible and the script writing. So that is always the basis of all our animations, because that's the most important thing, right? We want all of our ministry to be built upon the Bible, upon God's word. So we have a very, very skilled script writer called Rachel Hood, who works with us to develop the scripts based on the Bible stories that we're doing, and she retells them in such a beautiful way. She has a lot of gifting from God. And so we work together to create that first script. And then once she's completed the script, she'll send it over to me along with the voiceover that she's done, and I'll start working on the animation at that point. So the animation starts with building the sets. So if it's the Easter story, for example, I'll have to build Jerusalem. I'll have to build Pilate's courtyard. I have to build the crucifixion scene, Golgotha. So I have to build all those sets. And then once the sets are built, I'll then start the animation process. And the animation process is by far the longest process of the whole creation process, the longest part of the whole creation process, because on average it takes an hour to produce 1 second of animation. So an hour to produce 1 second, and that's on average. So some clips are taking even longer than that, and it will generally take me between 2 to 3 months to complete a full 4 minute animation. And that's a cycle of setting up a scene, setting up the lighting, the camera angles, the characters, then animating that scene, which can take 2 to 3 to 4 hours, and then setting up the next scene and repeating that process again and again for about 2 to 3 months to finish a completed animation.
Yeah.
And then once the animation is completed, our editor will put it together with Rachel's voiceover, add music, sound effects, and then we'll release it to YouTube. And now we're starting to translate that as well. So that's another step to the process, is starting to translate it into languages like Spanish and hopefully many, many more in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's a very long process, and
Mm.
it's good to know that you are working so hard for this. And in what ways are these videos used in churches, schools, or another settings?
Yeah. So in churches and schools, they're used as a teaching resource to engage children. So one of the important things when telling a Bible story is to engage children with that Bible story and get them excited about it. And our animations are the perfect way of engaging children and exciting them about the Bible story. So if you're doing a teaching on David and Goliath, if a church is doing a teaching on David and Goliath, for example, we have a stop motion animation of David and Goliath. And so the church will use that to tell the story, and then they'll build their own teaching, their own activities around that story that we provide. Then the other way, as I briefly mentioned before, the other way that our animations are used is as a digital resource for online evangelism. So a lot of people will use them at home actually. So one thing is people will use them at home. Parents will use them to help engage their young children with Bible stories at home, and then it's also a great way to share the Bible with your friends, because Lego, as I said, is such an engaging medium, and it's something that you can very easily share with your friends, and people can just come across it online and very, very easily engage. So we have a lot of comments on our videos on social media saying, "Hey, I'm an atheist. Hey, I'm a Muslim, but I'm still really enjoying this content. I'm still watching it, still engaging with it." And so that's really, really encouraging to see the wide application of these videos.
Mhm. In which platforms are you working? Are you in YouTube and in other platforms also?
Yeah, so our full videos are posted on YouTube. That's the main place to find us. Then our English speaking channels are on Instagram and TikTok, and then we've just set up a Spanish Instagram channel as well.
Okay, okay, thank you. We are talking about the Spanish project, and why and how do you decide to start this new brand of this project?
Mm-hmm. It's always been part of our heart and part of our mission to be reaching as many people with the gospel through this medium as possible, because as I said, we've always seen it as such a widely accessible medium to be telling Bible stories in. And so we've always been wanting to reach as many people as possible around the world with the gospel through these Lego animations. And one of the best ways to do that is to be translating our content. Spanish started because of God bringing about a connection with Max, who will be later on in this interview, and that connection was brought about back in May, and we started working together on translating the videos into Spanish. But long term, our goal is to translate our content into as many languages as possible to be reaching as wide an audience as possible. I think it's great though that we're starting with Spanish, because that is such a huge language all across the world. So it's a really good one to be starting with as we expand this project around the world.
Mm. So, how can people support or collaborate with this project?
Mm-hmm. So we are a charity, we're a non-profit organization, and all of our videos that we're making, we're distributing them completely for free, because that's another part of our heart mission, our heart posture is that we don't want there to be a paywall between people being able to use our content and engage with the Bible in this way. So we want to distribute our content for free. So you can find our content completely for free on YouTube. You can go to our website. You can download our videos to show in church services and in Sunday schools and so on, all completely for free. And that is made possible through the donations of individuals and churches and organizations who are excited by this ministry and can see the value in it and want to help support us to keep on creating content, keep on creating the next video. So how it works is we will crowdfund for our next video essentially. So we've literally this week have just finished crowdfunding the Prodigal Son, which is an animation that we've been in the process of creating and crowdfunding, and we've just finished crowdfunding for that. So we're now starting crowdfunding the Book of Ruth, which is the next animation that we'll be working on. And once that's crowdfunded, we'll then be able to release it. And so we run on the donations of people who are excited by this project and want to help support us.
Yeah, so I think it's a beautiful and amazing project, and I hope that many people want to support that. Josh, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I think just I'm so excited about what I've seen in God working in this ministry in the past few months. We were approved as a charity only 4 months ago now, after 6 to 7 months of setting up that charity and putting in a lot of effort and prayer. And it's amazing to see God fulfilling that prayer and going above and beyond our wildest expectations. It's been so encouraging to see his hand very, very clearly behind this ministry in so many ways. And one of those ways is being able to distribute it in Spanish around the world. And I'm so excited, so excited by that, and looking forward to seeing where God takes this branch of this ministry.
So, Josh, thank you so much for sharing your story and insights with us. It's inspiring to see how creativity and faith come together in your work, making the Bible more engaging for people of all ages. We truly appreciate your time, and we encourage everyone to check out Go Chatter Studios and support this fantastic project. Wishing you all the best, and we look forward to seeing more of your amazing videos. And thank you again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much. God bless.